Part 3. More than 20 years after the apocalypse, a new government is formed on the Hawaiian Islands. This government is run by 3 governors, a 4th one pending. Tulip Duden is the eco-governor in charge of green life, vegetables, plants, animals, and children. Zether Octavio is the entertainment governor in charge of nightly events, day events, music, performances, bands, movies, plays, maybe sports, etc. And this next few pages is about him. This whole story takes place between spring of 2033 and winter 2034, with each character going through the seasons, but everything ending at winter 2034. So there's been a volcanic eruption. Mount Kilauea has erupted, and all the houses on wheels and ball bearings have moved out into the ocean. Zether and his friend are playing, or actually Zether and Red to Black are playing blackjack. And who's going to win? So you can tell here by the last hand, by the last card, the Queen of Hearts, he goes over 21. So Zether fixes up a drink, and was it vodka and V8? I guess that's a good drink, vodka and V8. So what he wants to do is he's going to go to the mainland. He's going to go to California. And they're going to go to the ancient, they call it the ancient states. And they want to spy in on one of Kaleido's meetings with the people. So Kaleido has some duties he makes for himself in Los Angeles. So now they're planning Zether and Sillabone. This is Sillabone here, the friendly robot bulldog, green and all. They're off to the ancient states. So they're going to see exactly what Kaleido has planned. He holds these meetings. But this is the first time Zether and Silly are going to a meeting in incognito, in disguise. So they're just going to try to figure out what to do next. They go to the Santa Monica Pier. Sillabone stays behind. So there's a whole meeting like in a sort of a large theater of some type. It's outside. There's like, series of seats. Everybody sits in a round half circle, and Kaleido would sit in the center. So he puts on like dirty rags, old cloth, and blood stains and makeup. It's a very poor disguise, as you'll see. But he's like, he twists his wrist. So it's very cold. There are people with warts, growths, scabs, goiters, swellings. People are very like sick looking, in filth, living in filth. So Kaleido's on his way to sit down on stage. So he is looking up. So the stage is on the bottom, and the audience is like from like bleachers. So it's the top to bottom. So he's looking up at the people and not down. So, welcome people who are not here yet. Yet we must continue talking in double talk. What is progress? Progress through our faults and mistakes. What do we find? Find the real meaning of a utopia. And then he shuts his eyes, and Kaleido now speaks. He speaks in a real language, like just down-to-earth language. He focuses on the future and what the future of his people, the people who live in the ancient states, versus the people of New Day. He talks a little bit about Jerry the Reaper. Jerry came from a ghetto of poverty and poor education, from abusive parents. We paid the price for his stupidity. Some of us didn't deserve to. He suffered. Kaleido talks about his origins, that he suffered sexual abuse, the ironing board, his hands in scalding hot water, a file to my face, degrading myself before total strangers. So he talks a little bit about abuse. What kept me from becoming the Grim Reaper, you may ask? Time away from my family. I simply ran away from home and joined a circus and then founded by an Amish society at 10 years old. So he worked with the Amish. He worked with the circus. So he had to have some moral grounding. So he doesn't rely on technology He uses technology, but he doesn't rely on it. I mean, he has to use technology to survive his condition. One person, only one person ever truly cared about him, and that was Aunt Rose. So he talks a little bit about Aunt Rose and her sacrifice. Professor Rye, to cherish life. The people of New Day are essentially good people, but they are seriously flawed. They are clueless, inept in the way. So all this time, Zether is disguised himself as one of the sick and diseased who are forbidden to come to the islands. But he has to listen to Kaleido and what seems like claptrap. But Kaleido is basically saying they have plans to figure out what to do about New Day. They have a very logical organization of law enforcement, but without proper competent leadership, they will never handle the unpredictable misconduct. They ignore us on our wants and needs. We have our own forms of government, red and blue party, true, but we are the most organized. So he talks about the kind of law and order they have on the ancient states versus New Day. So it's the islands versus the mainland. Two different points of view, two different energies. So it is impractical to counter their government with our own. Yet we all knew that when that giant alien got us sick, when we lost our parents and grandparents to the extraterrestrial disease, the alien human hybrids who once roamed the land are all but extinct. We saw to that. So I led our sick and dying armies to kill off the rest. So the Zetrobots, the Wooloo aliens, whatever Zetralok was trying to do, it's undone, mostly. So here he says, this time we're getting this right. This time we will make New Day compromise for us, or we will destroy them. I will not divulge the plans for attack, not today, and that's because we have a spy. So Kaleido feels that, yes, he's not one of the diseased. He can come to the islands and be the governor of law enforcement. The only problem is that he wants to take the people too. He wants the people to come to the islands too. It's impractical if there's too large a population, but the option for people of the mainland to come to the islands and live in villages or new villages, so he's in a conflict. He wants to destroy New Day. He wants to destroy Tulip and Zether and Sillabone and the people there, but he also wants to respect them. So he's sort of in between two different energies. He's sort of caught in between. So they found out Zether, Octavio, so he's brought to the audience. And so you'll be excused quietly. And one more thing, do not return. Return to your former ways with you and your kin. Your kin always anticipate the unexpected evolutions. So always anticipate the unexpected. So that was it. So he had to go home with his tail between his legs because he got caught. But there was an assembly that I kind of wrote a backstory that maybe he had heard rumors that he was going to do something about New Day. Because after he was found out that he could be clean to go to the islands, he wanted to hear the conversations. But he did it without Tulip's permission. So there's a little bit of a lover's spat between Tulip and Zether. And we go to the 3D checkerboard platform. So there's a soccer field that's made up of like 3D chess, like in Star Trek, like this three-dimensional chess. And Rascal Brown is having a conversation with him. If you can recall Rascal Brown, he was one of the Skull Bashers from Grey Patriarchy. He's in his 40s. He's much wiser. He's not as silly. And he helps Zether run kids, like kind of a boys club recruitment program to help kids get on the right track to a better future. Besides the casinos and school, do extracurricular activities after school kind of programs like soccer. And this is for like helping like underprivileged kids and handicapped kids do soccer. So yeah, on this page, Tulip and Zether had a fight about Zether going to the mainland without permission or without approval of the other governors and the Magna Igloo. So everybody has to agree on that. So they're practice. So he's having a conversation. Julius is a goalie for the red team, and Julius is Julius is a goalie for the gray team, and then it's gray team versus red team, and they're playing on this field. Syllabone actually joins in. The robot bulldog actually joins in, and this is what the so you have a field on the bottom. You kick the football. If you're the goalie, you're kicking the ball to this platform, then this platform, which is a little bit higher. So it's like level. This field, this white field represents level 1. This is 2. This is 3. This is 4. This is 5. So they're very high up. So every 5 feet, the platform is raised up. So this is like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is like 20 feet off the ground, or maybe more. I'm not sure, but it's like a little staircase. So the goalie for the red team is on the very top. So Syllabone is here playing soccer with the others. So as they're playing, Roscoe Brown talks about. Oh, actually, he's almost 50 years old. He's in his late 40s, I think. I think he was in his late 20s when the devastation was after the devastation. So he's almost 50 years old. And he talks about that they promoted mother freaking slavery. Can you believe it? Trying to take away the prison and asylum system and making an old profession an excuse to evolve community service. So he's come a long way. We need love. We need beauty. We need nature, growth, art, music. Your melocortica, that musical instrument on Zether's back, it keeps us alive. So he's trying to say that we need entertainment. We need art. We need sports. We need lots of things that help us grow. Hate begets hate. So Roscoe Brown still sounds stupid, but he knows a lot more than he did when he was in his 20s. So at this point, there is no utopia. There is no ultimate epiphany, but what each character finds for themselves. One of the reasons I killed off the characters in Great Patriarchy was that they would take over and rule and help rule the government. And I didn't want them to do it. I wanted the next generation to do it. So it was like 3 separate stories, 3 separate groups of people. So he goes home and he summons his bot. Here are the notes for this. So it's like Chiflito. Like, so it's like the musical version of Chiflito. All of my Casio here. Very dirty. So he goes through his boxes. He talks about his dad. He talks about his mom, but his mom is in a convalescent home in the ancient states. I do try to have some happy families in this, even though I grew up in a shitty family. And here at the bottom, if we can read it, so there's Gino. Now, Gino is the same Gino from Grey Patriarchy. Gino, who died in battle, left a last message for him on a DVD, a burned CD. So, talks a little bit about the sacrifices he had to make. Let me see if I can try to get the whole thing on here. Your Aunt Rose, she may want to end the mother of this robot king from doing any more harm. So we have to figure out how to stop him. It may end up taking our lives. We all got to go sometime, yeah? We catch a sacrifice when we do the deed to everybody's survival. Everybody. I don't know how old you are as you're watching this. Better be old enough. And look here, I'm going to give you this. So the mellow chord, the melocortica, this musical instrument, this is what Gino created and had made for him. It was like a custom-made 5-man band. It's hard to find friends. It was hard for me to find and keep friends after my drinking habits and drugs. Mariachi bands just didn't work out. So the real Gino Juarez in my real life was a mariachi band singer, performer for mariachi bands. I didn't like what it turned into. Saxophone, strings, inner drums, bionic violin. So here, let me play you a few notes. Let's see if so these are the notes that Gino gives to Zether as a parting gift. So let me see if I can warm this up here. So these are the notes. So he's going to come up with something. So don't forget Tulip's birthday's coming up. And here we have, let's see, the Equatorium. So the Magna Igloo, that's where the government, laws are made, bills are passed, order of business is discussed, the Golden Hut. And so there's a bare bones building. So if you think about buildings that are constructed halfway done with planks for workers to walk on, steel skeletons, a building that's not really finished. So that in itself is a work of art that the children of the future have decided that this is a work of art, an unfinished building. As long as it's, you can manage yourself around it. 3D Chinese dragons of myths. So it's like kind of like graffiti art. So red of green clay shingles. It's like a house that has red and green clay shingle roof, like you kind of see in Mexico, but it's or here in America we have all kinds of shingle roofs, but it's mostly like steel skeletons and wooden planks, like somebody's building a building, but it's not finished. So Oisek, his best friend, is on keyboard. His other friend, Tuang, is on double bass. Chimey, a colleague, on xylophone jars. Tulip does the vocals while I restrict my mellocordica to drums and sax. So now he's playing with the whole band. And this is for Tulip. Tulip is going to sing with the band. That's her birthday gift. So, here we start with the notes again. Okay, so just look at the words, and then I'm going to play the notes to the words since I don't sing very well. Okay, here's the real thing now. Ready? Here we go. Then here she gives a little transition. Here are these notes. Now these words here, I didn't put real notes to them. It's kind of hard to do music in a story. Most people just write words out without feeling or thought because they're authors. They're just telling a story. They're not musicians. So I kind of had to put a little bit of thought into the music, but not get you all confused. So here are the notes on the bottom because Syllabone does the bridge of this. And here we go through the first three lines, and then we have two final lines here on the bottom. All the things that you are, now the things that we are. So it's a band that performs for all these people, all the citizens of Unoda. And it's a band that of everybody, Zither, Tulip, Oisek, Twang, Chime, all the five people, they just move around. They're not standing in one place. So it's everyone just getting up and moving about while they're playing the instruments. So it's really a beautiful birthday gift for Tulip. So Tulip and Zither are going back to her house. Oisek is into mech dollies. Mech dollies are sex dolls, girlfriend dolls. It's just the way it is. Some people have kind of gone their own, some males have gone their own way. There's different politics on this island. It's not everybody's Christian or everybody's Catholic or everybody's Lutheran or everybody's Scientologists or one group or everybody's this way or everybody's that way. It's so selfish to do it that way. It's very selfish, and it's very easy for someone based on their own personal life to say everyone should live this life. Everyone should eat Taco Bell and use 3 seashells. So everybody's got their own thing. And here we also have the red light. Now this is not Disneyland, okay? I know Disney would take this and make it into all cutesy shit like Moana, but this is an adult place at times. It could have kids fun-friendly things, but there is a red light district that is not run by organized crime that has certain restrictions. So there is legal prostitution on the island. I just don't really get into it unless I had to. So we have San Greg. Now San Greg, in this one, San Greg is the temporary or acting governor of law enforcement. San Greg's not a great character that I came up with, but he is, because Zether knows Tulip wants to get Kaleido and get him on the island. So he's got an electronic siren, an electronic whistle, and he activates his jetpack to stop a Drake vehicle from, it's a drunk driver in a Drake vehicle, and he's kind of going outside the balloon. So in the sky, there are balloon lanes. So think of these balloons that form the outline of a lane, like on a street. And if you go aside, if you're weaving, so if your vehicle's like this, so the cop on a jetpack will stop you. So it's kind of sci-fi, real life kind of stuff. And they have a little bit of talk. Zether apologizes for sneaking out in the middle of the night, with Syllabone going to Los Angeles and spying on Kaleido. But Tulip says Kaleido's a great man. He talks like an emo clown, like an emotional clown. He wallows in his fictional worlds to escape sad reality, but he has great skills. He does his push-ups, sit-ups, yoga, leg stretches, bicycles. So I wanted to make Kaleido not some moody, two-dimensional character that speaks in riddles. He really does want to do good, but he also feels that New Day isn't going to recognize the people of the mainland, the ancient states, the people who got sick from the devastation by the alien terrorist Zetro. So he feels he wants to destroy New Day, but he also feels that Tulip and Zether and the others are good people. And so this is a battle of wills. She uses Uncle Rye's hovering cameras, the same hovering cameras that Rye used in the last book, to spy on him. So there's a right and a wrong way to spy on people, but she had her own ways. So you are so pretzeled. Pretzel means so twisted. So instead of saying twisted, you say pretzeled. So different slang. Twang is going to do a rap battle. It's Vietnamese jealousy versus Spanish rage over a woman. Two different languages. Can you speak Bangla? So they're just having talk about different plays they're going to do on stage, probably in virtual reality form and augmented reality form as well. So different things, messing around with technology to do old-fashioned things in a new way. So Kaleido they're both all three of them, and Syllabone too, because the dog is intelligent. It has an AI. But it's just a silly dog. That's a robot. So all three of them are thinking about the future and what's to come. And speaking of that, so we go from summertime 2033 to wintertime. So this is the same ending almost as Tulip's ending, except we see it from Zether's point of view. We see the 500 village, all 500 of us, and then Dual Land gather together, and three beings emerge. So three different aliens are coming out of the spaceship. So in the last story, in springtime, Tulip, or around summertime, Tulip discovered a message coming from another alien spaceship. So another group of aliens of the same species as Zetro is coming to Earth, but for what intention? So three different color. One's a big green alien. One is a red alien with a metal arm. One is a blue alien with weird jellyfish tentacle-like hair, long, like dreadlock-looking hair, but it looks like it's made out of octopus tentacles and stuff. So these fantasy creatures but they're aliens from another planet. So where their mouths, stuff like that. So here at the bottom, Kaleido comes out of nowhere, and he says, "What you are doing harm may help others. Others feel different about your next step." So Kaleido is coming out of hiding because he was hiding in the bushes or hiding behind a tree or somewhere, hiding behind rocks or stuff like that, and trying to just come out at the last minute and said, "What you are doing." So he's come to. This is first contact between the humans and the aliens, like a real first contact, not between Jerry and Zetro in the forest, but this is a real one. And so Kaleido may screw this up or may help the people. What does he do? And then next week, we'll go to Syllabone's story, and we'll talk about his time between the autumn and the time of winter, the time of first contact.